Anything else we're missing?
And if you don't have the district attorney's body cam policy, I do.
Craig, can you go ahead and forward that to all of us?
Yep.
Also, Craig, I have for you, you're drafting the letter to the person who requested the Act 22 footage.
Correct.
Okay, that's 5, 6. 2 for you, 4 for you.
I have 2, right?
Yes, the rest of us are off the hook, except for thinking. Let's just take notes exactly.
Evening, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Vernon Borough Council business meeting of January 14th. We stand for the pledge of allegiance, please.
To the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's okay.
Roll call, please.
Ms. Provenza. Present. Mr. Floda.
Here.
Mayor Recupero.
Here.
Mr. Alexander.
Here.
President Suchovich.
Here.
Ms. Redzak.
Present.
Dr. Carpenter.
Present.
Mr. Pitch.
Here.
Mr. Jamelis.
Here.
Mr. Long.
Are there any additional emergency agenda items? None? At this time, you want to say?
Sure. We held an executive session immediately preceding this evening's council meeting commencing at 6:30 regarding legal issues, personnel issues, and collective bargaining issues. Okay. Item number 5 on the agenda is comments from the public, and one of those comments is presentation of proceeds, I believe, regarding the fire that happened on December 12, 2024. And I was requested to just put on the record that that was not a borough-sponsored event, that it was sponsored by individuals and members of the public. And it's not uncommon for those types of presentations to happen at a borough council meeting because it is a public forum. And just so that everybody's aware that this was a private event that was done, and thankfully done for these people. So, with that said, Mr. President,
At this time, we'll do the presentation to who's here and who's.
We canceled it. They didn't want to drive in the snow.
Okay.
So I'm just going to meet up with them tomorrow or the next day and just give them the checks.
All right.
So.
Very good. Thank you.
for the folks watching at home, that was Officer Tom Dessel speaking. I don't know if you could hear him or not, but he said that the folks who were going to be presented with that check are not able to be present today because of the inclement weather. And Officer Dessel is going to meet up with them privately and make that presentation.
Would you like to make any other comments, Officer Dessel?
No, we're good.
Thank you. And thanks to everybody that participated and volunteered to help that function for those families that lost everything.
It was absolutely tremendous.
Yes.
And if I may real quick, Eric Coos, I was going to give him a proclamation today, and he had called me and he said, Mr. Cooper, he says, I know, you told me to, wanted me to come to the meeting tonight, on the 14th. I says, yeah. And he says, and I'll be there. And I said, okay, no problem. And he says, the Penguins called me and they're going to honor me at the Penguin game, on the 14th, And I told him, I said, Eric, he says, but I'll come to the council meeting. I said, Eric, I told you I was going to give you a proclamation. And I says, I tell you what, I'm going to give you a piece of paper. The Penguins are going to honor you on the ice. They're going to probably give you a hot dog and a beer. They're going to probably give you a shirt. It's an honor. I said, you go to, on the 14th, don't come to the meeting. So I'll do it at the workshop meeting at the end of the month. So that's where he's at now. He was all thrilled that I wasn't going to go to the Penguin game. It's a once in a lifetime thing, you deserve it.
And I received a telephone call from County Councilman Nick Fatula is basically indicating the same thing, that
Right.
he has a proclamation and was prepared to present it tonight, but he understands that the gentleman's going to be at the hockey game, so same thing. And I understand Joe McAndrew on this.
Right.
I wanted to make a statement, if I may, before we do the public comments.
Yep.
As many of you probably know, my family suffered a catastrophic loss, resulting from the fire at our 4-unit apartment building last month. And my heart goes out to the tenants for their losses and for being displaced from this awful fire. We are truly sorry for that traumatic experience that they endured, and we thank God that everyone was able to evacuate safely. And I have a long list of folks that I wanted to thank tonight. Number one, to the brave Verona, Oakmont, Point Breeze, Penn Hills, and other fire stations who assisted in battling that dangerous blaze throughout the evening in those extremely cold and icy conditions. Thank you. To the Verona Police Department, especially Officer Tom Dessel, who was on the scene working hard from the start by entering the building to confirm that all the tenants were safely evacuated. He stayed till the very, very end, doing everything from directing traffic with Susie Davis's help, making sure the displaced tenants were taken care of and taking control of the area. To the Verona DPW for helping to make sure the roads were salted and free of ice from the water, providing a safe working area for our firefighters to operate. To Lower Valley Ambulance Service for checking on everyone, including my old friend Gary Schaunemeyer, who went to check on my 87-year-old mother, who was suffering from a panic attack watching this fire. To our borough manager, Stephanie Wolford, came up to check on the scene and make herself available for any help needed. To Eric Cust, the Good Samaritan and citizen who came to help evacuate one of the tenants. He's a terrific human being and a neighbor that we should all want to have next to us. At this very moment, he's being honored at the Penguins game, and that's why he couldn't be here tonight. We should all be very proud of him. To Giant Eagle for sending up beverages and snacks for the firemen. We appreciate their contributions to our community. During a previous council meeting, Annie Stavrakis had talked about a blanket that has covered the colors of this town. And what I saw that night and beyond showed the colors of this town, and that blanket has come off. I saw an entire united community spring into action. I saw friends and neighbors doing their best during a crisis. Even though the outcome was not optimal with our tenants and their families being displaced, I'm still comforted by the fact that the community has supported them and us. And I hope that they found some comfort as well. The true power of this community was shown when Officer Dessel, Obie Morford, and Sandy Bell, Shirley Davis, and many others on their own time organized fundraisers for the fire victims. I was awestruck by the generosity and support the people and businesses of Verona and Oakmont demonstrated. To all of you, thank you. Thank you to Mayor Recupero and to all the council members who volunteered their time for their fundraising efforts. In closing, I wanted to say that the values of the old Verona really haven't left us. As a small borough, our strength is that many of the residents know each other and care for one another. We aren't alone in some big city. Someone you know will always see you and see how you are doing. It has always been that way. We are strong because of those relationships we have, almost like an extended family. At least that's how I've always felt. I'm very proud and very fortunate to be a resident of this great borough. I know that we've been dealing with some challenges with regards to our public safety. As a council, we will continue to work hard to improve to make Verona not only a safer place to live, but also a thriving community. We can't do it alone. We encourage everyone's participation and input. We are all friends and neighbors. Thank you. God bless you all, and Happy New Year.
Thank you, John. This time we'll hear public comments. Anybody have comments, raise your virtual hand or come to the podium. State your name, try to limit your comments to 3 minutes, please. Name and address.
Susie Davis, 537 Ridge Avenue. First off, Happy New Year to you all. And I want to also thank all the firemen and Officer Dessel and the EMS the night of the fire. That was a great turnout and showed support. And the people in the area that came to the dinner that Tom was able to get together in less than a week. He pulled it off. He had a great turnout. It was fantastic there that night. We kept having to hold up the line because we had to keep making more pasta, more food. We didn't expect as much as we got in there. It was a great turnout, and I want to thank Sylvia, Vince, Dave, Craig, Trish, Nancy, and John for showing up to support. The rest of the council weren't there, and that's a shame. If you had previous obligations because of work, that was different, but where was the rest of the council?
Anybody else? Okay. Comment from the advisory boards and commissions? Council, we want to talk about the committees. We're going to keep the times and the dates changed. We're not going to advertise, correct? Re-advertise.
We were getting clarification. We advertised for 1 year last January, correct?
Yes, but if we're not changing them. Is anybody change, I guess my question is anybody changing their date and time?
Any changes?
For what?
Committees.
They meet once a month. In the evening.
No.
We could put it on a Facebook post and we can put it, but I don't think
I advertisement
we did the advertisement for the council meetings and the workshops.
and the committee meeting.
Planning commission and, yeah, but not the other committees,
Not the council committees.
not the council.
We'll need to advertise those then.
I thought I read somewhere, was that your report, Greg? Somewhere I thought I read that they were advertised, the committees were.
It was the planning commission, the parks and rec.
I've advertised because I asked about the committee meetings and they were all saying the same.
Oh, yeah, they did say this, as far as we knew, they say.
So I advertised.
Okay, then
Then we're good.
You advertised them, Craig?
I did.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Can someone forward us a copy of the advertisement
I don't have to sign it.
in whatever newspaper that is that exists?
In the Valley News.
I know that. I don't know where you said that.
I can probably find you the proof because they do that now. They change their whole
Oh, yeah,
operation.
here it is, number 3 on your reports.
I'm sure I have it, I just have to pull through my stuff and I can't get into my Z drive from here.
Okay.
All right, next up is the mayor's report. Mr.
Um,
Kudrow?
Yeah, just a couple of things. I was asked to bring up about the, during the winter time, we also have no parking like we do the street sweeping. And they told that I would bring it up. They wanted to know if it was necessary with the winters that we've been having, and we basically did that for snow removal. And I think it's been inactive since 2015, I believe. We had a lot of snow, one entire month, and everybody was complaining about moving it, about their cars got plowed in. And so the board at that time, they decided to do, many other communities do too, like our neighboring community all year long. And it's totally up to the board, about do we drop the winter, no parking on street sweeping days or not?
Just say no parking.
Right, but that's what we did change it to no parking.
And the ordinance
Yeah.
says no parking, it does not say
Right.
street sweeping, it says no
I think it's
parking.
good to keep it that way, 'cause if you do get a snowstorm or something, and then people are still used to parking on the opposite sides.
I agree, because, if we do take that off and we, like you said, Mr. President, if we get a snowstorm, then they're gonna complain, that, hey, I got, snowed in, I gotta dig out. And it's been working since
It works.
2015. They asked me if I could bring it up and so I brought it up. So, you know, I'll tell
We'll
them
leave
we're
it the
gonna
way it
keep
is for now.
it.
Man, I'd love to cause it. I might be in the minority, but I've been talking about minimizing street cleaning, especially in inclement weather for a while. I mean, it would be easy to do a trial perhaps to see if people are less happy, but if successful, we could just add to the signs except for December through March or whatever. What do other people think?
Then would we want to, how would we plow?
Right,
We're not the first municipality to be able to plow in those conditions.
They have signs up that say plowing in the winter on different days, street sweep. So we would have to pay for all the plowing signs.
I'm not convinced of that. I think this warrants more research. If,
I did talk to AJ about that, because you did ask me to.
thank you.
He said it would be a nightmare. So I'm just gonna let you
So
know.
it's
There's
not
research.
their preference.
They said, because they have set routes that they do continuously, and they're pretty sure there's certain routes that have to be completed every week. There's 2 days that's what they do, that's what one person is dedicated to do as his job. And, like you said, trying to keep track of that would be
Are you talking about street sweeping?
street sweeping. They like the idea of no parking on opposite sides of the street too, because what they do then is sometimes if it's icy or stuff, they can clean it up.
I will say, I just wanted to say about that. I see both sides of this, I really do, because if I lived on a street where I had to move my car and there was no snow and no street sweeping, I would be one of those people wondering why we're switching cars for no reason. On the other hand, you know, oh, and to add to that, in the winter, I lived in the city for a long time before I moved to Verona. And their signs simply say switch, except from November 30th to April 1st, you don't have to. It doesn't have anything to do with street sweeping or snow plowing, it just says you don't have to move your car. Or not park there or whatever there, yeah, so there's that side. But on the other side, I can see when it does snow, especially when it snows a lot. The only way that the guys can get in on that side of what the street that's designated for that day is if everybody moves their car, and then you can. You know, if people don't move their car, then they can't clean the part right up to the curb, so. I'm just saying, I see both sides.
I know I'm gonna die on this hill, but I do believe it's a waste of our DPW's time and taxpayer funds. By extension, to continue to street sweep weekly on the hill. But I'd love to hear other people's opinions.
I get what you're saying about the hill, that all the crap runs downhill, but down where I live.
Yeah, I don't want to down,
I would cheat it on the hill. I
if
would.
they don't sleep on the hill, it's all gonna go downhill. And then we'd have all the garbage down, it's flat.
why don't we bring it to the workshop and discuss it at the workshop?
Sure.
I think you can put that on the agenda for workshop, please.
Have anybody looked into other towns that don't do street sweeping, how many there are, what it looks like?
Maybe in the next couple of weeks before a workshop, somebody, they want to research it, they can look into that.
I have one more thing that I didn't put on the agenda, but it's real quick. I had a police meeting with all the officers on December 18th, 2024. Basically, we went over a lot of things that every officer is going to be dedicated to doing something. We're not going to do any more where the chief or the acting chief is going to do it all. Some of the things like updating business alarms, cameras throughout the community, make sure they're working, car maintenance, tasers, firearms, body cameras, vests, they're gonna monitor them, evidence rooms, managing all records. Somebody's gonna have a particular job, I got a whole list that they're gonna do, and I'm gonna have another meeting more towards the end of the month. That's all I have at this time.
You have anything, weekly police logs to you.
The weekly police logs, I just received the other one, yesterday, but I'm gonna redo this because last week and a half since January, with the snow, we do snow removal and I do maintenance on the trucks. I've been very busy. I didn't get home today until 6 o'clock and, but I'll have a full report at the workshop meeting.
Okay, thank you.
And a monthly report also. It
All right.
will be a week, the logs.
Thank you. Next up, Borough Manager Stephanie.
The regulated rent are starting to go out this week. LGA intern, we've been chosen as a placement site for the summer. The intern fair is scheduled for early February. We are currently cleaning services. We're working with Craig to get the service discontinued. We're working on the letter. We're starting to collect information on other services. Until then, we've worked out a plan to keep everything clean. We are paying someone to clean bathrooms, kitchens, and police station. Engineering services, the rates have not changed. We just wanted you to see them since to keep everybody up to date. Stamp grant, I spoke with both Bethany Williams and Stephanie Edwards on Friday. We're gonna start working on the first stamp grant in the next few weeks. We'll be working towards, what we discovered is their stamp money, you can request as much as you want, but what kind of stuff you kind of want in there. In one big grant. So we will be working on a comprehensive capital plan, security of the building and cameras, like parks and stuff like that. We'll bring ideas to our workshop meeting in February. This is due in June. Please know they do not do like roofs and walls and all that and like all that kind of stuff. When they will do smaller items, such as security and stuff like that, but they will not do the big package items. We're also waiting for the gentleman from DCED to come back to discuss some of those more capital projects like police vehicles and things like that. Just for information, Mock and Hop is now part of Aquasure, just so you know. Curtisfield concession stand update. This policy may be the end of me, but we are continuing to work on it. Craig, I'm gonna need your help, because basically, besides hand washing, there's a whole bunch of things that to have the idea of a shared kitchen that the people who are using it or have to agree to. So to make it work and,
There's more county rule.
yeah, it's a lot of county rigmarole. So I would say packaged goods would be the way to go if I had to make a decision in life, but so I'm working on that right now.
Very good. Anything else, Steph?
Nope.
Thank you. Code enforcement.
Hold on. You should all have a copy of the code enforcement report. If does anybody have any questions, concerns?
Next up, police chief's report.
Yeah, I also have November's. I don't think it was ready for the meeting at that time. I'll read November's first, then December's, and it's both of them. This is November 2024. Complaints received 168, total crimes reported 44, total crimes cleared 40, total persons arrested 20, crime code summary issued 16, borough parking tickets 70, magistrates fines collected $1,350.57, borough fines and fees collected $1,040, police reports, those are for accidents, $15, municipal fines $2.25, total fines and fees $2,407.82, and that's for November. And for December 2024, the month complaints received 144, total crimes reported 37, total crimes cleared 33, total persons arrested 17, crime code summary 3, vehicle code summary 17, borough parking tickets 3. The reason why is it was a grace period between Christmas and New Year's. We did not go out and do the parking that we just discussed. We We don't have the magistrate fines. I don't know why I'll have to look into that, but borough fines collected is 30, police reports purchased 30, municipal fines $5.82, total fines and fees were 65.82. Parking fee permits were 30, so December was kind of a quiet month.
Magistrate fees, that just means that nothing was sent from the courts.
Right,
So we just, a lot of times that happens.
right. And that's all I have.
Can we, get a copy of that November report? We didn't get one.
You would have to ask mayor to ask the chief, I don't have it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll have him to make a copy for everyone.
I also just wanted to make an observation that, the year-to-date between 2023 and 2024 is almost double. And, I found that interesting. I mean, there were other areas where we were lower in 2024, but, you know, it was like $4,500 more total
He raised.
from the police department.
He raised,
What's that?
we raised parking tickets and street sweeping tickets. Some of them we raised like 110%. That might be where that's from.
From magistrate fines?
I think those might be added in there if they end up going to match.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not saying there's a cause and effect necessarily, I'm just observing.
No, I'm just saying if there was an increase in fines collected, we did just raise fines, so that would correlate.
That really doesn't, I don't know, does that go under borough fines and fees?
I think it depends on when it's paid. If it's paid immediately, then it would go under fines and fees. If it goes to the magistrate, it would go under magistrate, I think.
Well, I'm not sure either. I'm just looking at this report and struck by the fact that the magistrate fines are almost double. I just wanted to point that out, an observation. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Next up, fire chief's report, D&T.
The fire company answered a total of 14 calls for the month of December, starting on 12/5, a residential fire alarm at 538 Springfield Drive in Penn Hills, which is a false alarm. 12/11, residential fire alarm at 9253 Valley Street in Penn Hills, false alarm. On 12/12, residential structure fire, 489 to 495 Center Avenue in Verona for a multi-family dwelling fire. 12/13, residential lockout at 516 Spruce Street in Verona. 12/13, a commercial fire alarm at 101 Arch Street in Verona that was false alarm. 12/16, a commercial fire alarm at 1233 Holt Road in Plum, false alarm. 12/16, a vehicle accident at 529 Parker Street in Verona. 12/24, possible residential structure fire at 741 15th Street in Oakmont. Smoke from a faulty water motor and furnace. 12/24, possible residential structure fire at 635 5th Street in Oakmont. It was not a fire that was extinguished. 12/25, a water problem at 837 2nd Street in Verona from a ruptured water line. 12/25, a water problem at 159 Grant Street in Verona from the ruptured water line. 12/25, a water problem at 736th Street in Penn Hills, again from a ruptured water line. 12/29, residential structure fire at 1127 Jody Lane in Penn Hills. It's a working house fire. And lastly, 12/30 for a public service assist at 538 Penn Street, Verona, to assist police to secure a disabled boat. Aside from the fire report, I'd just like to announce that there is a current fundraiser taking place at the Verona Eagles. The Eagles is hosting a charity bingo this month, and this Friday and next Friday, all proceeds will benefit the Verona Fire. Any questions?
You have to be a member to attend.
And how's it going? Fine.
Very well. Like, as I reported last month, I should have everything ready to launch here.
Wonderful. We'll see you.
All right.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Jamie. Next up, EMS, Lower Valley, they're not here. The report's in here,
The report is in here.
not the special report,
Nothing special to report.
very good. Next up would be our solicitor's report, Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did submit a monthly report, which is in the packet. I already announced the executive session that we had earlier this evening. With regard to the meeting notice, I didn't pull that proof up that the Tribune sent me back. And what was advertised was the borough meetings, regular meeting and workshop meeting, the planning commission meeting, the hearing board meeting, and the recreation board meeting. So committee meetings were not advertised. So if I need to get that advertised, I just need to know whenever the dates are to get that done.
Please get that advertised there in the agenda.
Yeah, the back of the agenda. Having all the meetings.
Okay,
Stephanie.
definitely I'll take care of it tomorrow.
Thank
And
you.
that's all I have. Thank you very much.
Anybody have anything for Mr. Alexander? Nope. Thank you. Next up would be the engineer's report. Matt Pitch, Mr. Pitch.
Thank you, Mr. President. I did submit my written report. One update on it. We met with the Parks and Rec yesterday. We provided a small little presentation on the Parks and Planning grant that we have. So we're going to be getting that started here. So in the next few months, there's going to be some communication, talks of how to distribute surveys and things like that to aid on the development of the plan. So that will be going on throughout the year here.
Very good, thank you. Anybody have anything for Mr. Pitch?
I was just gonna say, I attended that meeting and it was very informative and appreciate all the work that Ashley and you put into that presentation. Thank you.
Next up, council members' remarks. Trish Redzak.
Thank you, Mr. President. I don't have anything major to report at this time. Our next strategic planning committee meeting will be February 9th at 4 p.m.
Thank you. Next up would be Dr. Carpenter.
Thank you. First of all, Happy New Year, everybody. My main thing is I wanted to talk about CPR class and the major update is that I was at a meeting at RCAC, the senior center that serves both Verona and Oakmont, but is located in Oakmont. And they wanted to do a CPR class also. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be great if we combined the efforts and had people from the senior center, from Oakmont, from Verona, we could use RCAC. They have a nice big room, Wi-Fi signal and all that good stuff. So we've been talking about having a combined class with RCAC, and so the tentative date for that is going to be Saturday, March 22nd. So we'll just make it early spring and fall if we're going to do things twice a year. It's not 100% decided upon, but it just seemed like a win-win. But I wanted to bring that up now so that anybody who wanted to chime in on this idea could do that tonight. There are some newsletter deadlines that we're trying to make as well to get the advertising for this out. Anybody have any objections? Having combined CPR with RCAC on March 22nd?
As long as the CPR people can accommodate that many people.
Yep, they just need to know ahead of time.
Right.
They actually, when I was discussing with the woman who coordinates it all, she said, there's no limit. We just need to know how many.
Okay, very
And
good.
so Stephanie and the admin people here won't even have to worry about it because the people will RSVP to RCAC.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, the other thing I wanted to bring up, I think everybody here gets the PSAD emails. And when I was checking my emails at the end of last week, I noticed that there was one on a civil service procedures training. And I read the description, I made a copy for myself, but I particularly piqued my interest was another aspect of the workshop will focus on the hiring process. Relevant court cases related, now to discipline and discharge, that wasn't the part that piqued my interest. It was mainly that they're going to talk about how to hire police and the involvement, I guess, of the civil service commission in towns. It's a little pricey, it's $150.
I already signed up.
Oh,
You did.
you did, wonderful. I thought that maybe there might be a way to share that video.
I'll share it once I be able to.
Yeah, because maybe the commission, you know, anybody who's interested in, well, it's 2 hours for 3 Tuesdays. So that's a total of 6 hours.
That was my plan was to give it to civil service, but I didn't want to pay for 3 people
Right,
to have to do it.
Wonderful.
It costs $150 a pop, so I figured I could do it, get all the handouts. and
Okay.
stuff. So we're already set with that.
wonderful. That's excellent, thank you. The next public safety meeting is gonna be next Tuesday at 5:30, the 21st at 5:30 here in this room and also on Zoom.
That's it?
That's it.
Thank you. Next up would be Ms. Floda.
Yes, thank you, President. As Matt stated earlier, we had a Parks and Recreation Board meeting last night at 6:30. Preceding that, we had a Parks and Property Committee meeting at 5:30. We went over goals for 2025. One of our main focuses will be looking at the vacant lot fee schedule and ways of enforcing that, and also see if we could enact a vacant structure fee schedule, ways to enforce that. So, Greg, I'll probably be working with you a good portion of this year. Trying to button that up, and there's just too many, you can't let vacant lots and vacant houses stay over the town. There has to be some sort of incentive to build a house or rebuild.
Right.
So we're gonna be looking at that for a good part of the year, so we can make sure that that's nice and tidy. We also went over tree pruning. Stephanie, I just want to remind you, whenever we do get calls out for estimates for tree pruning, to let Shade Tree Commission be a part of the assessment.
We may want to wait.
Yeah, I will.
Duquesne Light is getting ready
The prune.
to prune, and I've been waiting for a list.
Whenever we do it, I just want to make sure I remind you to involve the Shade Tree Commission so they can be part of this.
I'm just waiting for the list.
They always prove real nice.
Oh, yeah.
The trees look like this.
You get what you pay for.
You know, here's what I'm gonna tell, all I can ask for is the list. They basically, they do what they're gonna do and we have no control over it.
Yep, you're right.
Well, the Shade Tree Commission is not gonna be happy.
Well.
They're gonna destroy our trees.
You can tell them to call Duquesne Light because
We
there's
can't-
nothing I can do about it.
We can't like, I was like, we can't.
Yeah.
I know, and I know the bigger, they've come in before in the bigger trees, but I'm just wondering if they're gonna do ARB.
They are going to be on ARB this year.
Oh, boy.
Okay, moving on, we also discussed the Riverbank Park cleanup. We're gonna try to get out there, if weather breaks sometime in, Parks and Rec. We'll do a preliminary Riverbank Park cleanup, and we're gonna try to get Friends of the Riverfront to do a more in-depth Riverbank Park cleanup in late spring. We also discussed, as Matt said, Ashley Harris was here. She's a planner for LSSE. We discussed the old 2021 URP grant that we're actually about to start execution on. I had a couple of questions we wanted to ask the Park and Rec Board. We were able to give them our recommendations. And then Ashley gave her presentation, and we will be putting out a lot of surveys and things for the grant outcome. That's all I have to report, and I wish everybody happy.
Thanks, Vince. Next up will be Tim.
I have nothing else.
Nothing. Thanks, Tim. Next up will be John Jamelis.
Thank you, Mr. President. Tomorrow, I don't have much to say other than I made my statement earlier, except that tomorrow I have our personnel committee meeting tomorrow at 6 P.M. We're going to go over kind of our goals for 2025. Our new HR consultant will be in attendance.
Oh, okay, cool.
So, yeah, so we're gonna help, she's gonna help us kind of guide us along. You know, devise a path forward, handbook, disciplinary procedures, professional development, training, retention, that kind of stuff. And we'll talk about some other, maybe some other, hiring policy proposals, that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna dive into it right now, but that's all. That's all I have.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, John.
Thank you very much and Happy New Year, everybody.
Next up will be Mrs. Provenza.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. President, and good evening, everyone. Due to our Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is going to be on Monday, January the 20th, we have had to cancel our communication meeting, and we will resume it the following month.
Not to be the bearer of bad news, but the following month is President's Day. Sorry.
See you then.
Well, we may see you in the middle of summer. Okay, thank you, Steph.
You're welcome. I just happened to look that up for somebody else.
Well, and the following month in March, it's St. Patrick's Day.
Well, I don't think, well,
I know, because it'll be on the weekend before, but.
Is that it, Mr. President?
For that, yes, but I see that I'm next in line. for
You're next
ALOM.
up for ALOM.
Yes, and under ALOM, Allegheny League of Municipalities, the next event is going to be the 2025 Spring Educational Conference, and that's going to be April 3rd through the 6th, and it will be held at 7 Springs Mountain Resort.
Very good, thank you.
Yes, sir, you're welcome. And to
Next-
all, a happy New Year, to our board and families, and to your families, a wonderful, happy holiday.
Very good, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Are you taking our reservation request?
council.
hey.
Oh.
You can squeeze in there with them.
You don't know what, make room.
I'm working on it. There's other stuff that was pressing, so we're trying to get that done. We'll be sending out an email in the next, probably week or so.
Next up would be COG, and that is not till December or January the 22nd.
It's on the 22nd or the 29th,
It's on isn't it the fourth Tuesday or the fourth Wednesday?
which is the 29th.
Which is the 22nd.
Because the first is, okay. Sorry.
Next up, old business, we have none. Next up, ordinary items. I'll take a motion to accept the minutes from September 10th of 2024.
I'll make that.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Carpenter, second by Mrs. Provenza. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Passed. Next up, I'll take a motion to accept the bills for December of 2024.
Make that motion.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Long, second by Mr. Jamelis. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Next up, new business action items. We need a motion to approve continuation of engineering services with Matt Pitts from Senate Engineering, a division of LSSE.
Make that motion.
Motion by Mr. Long, second by Mr. Floda. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed. Next up would be announcements. And that would be Mrs. Provenza again.
Yes, sir. Thank you again, Mr. President. Under newsletter, ads and articles are going to be due on Saturday, February 1. And this issue will cover March, April, and May. And for articles, Dawn Ward can be reached at 412-828-3607. or at veronanewsroom@gmail.com. And for ads, I can be reached at 412-828-7726. Chamber of Commerce, their next meeting will be on Tuesday, January 21, 7 p.m. here in the Borough Building. Winboro Ministries, the next community dinner will be on Wednesday, January 29th at our Verona Methodist Church, from 4:30 till 6:30. Historical Society, this meeting will be on Thursday, January 16th at 7 p.m. And it will be a movie entitled A Cemetery Special, narrated by Rick Seaback. And all are always welcome. And that concludes my reports. If there's any questions or comments, I would be glad to take them. If not, I thank you.
Next up will be comments from the public. Anybody have any comments? Please approach the podium, state your name and address, and try to limit your comments to 3 minutes, please.
Don Moore, 636 Third Avenue. Most of you know that I am the editor of the newsletter. Thank you for announcing my name. I was going to write a speech here, but I didn't do it. So I'm just going to come up and say that such a volume of information here tonight, it almost is uncomprehensible to remember everything, but it's all important. And I think that the audience here and people listening in feel the same way. It's just kind of hard to remember everything. So I'm going to challenge the council to write articles about their committees and spread the word through the newsletter. Newsletter hits every house in Verona, whereas I don't think everyone is listening to the borough meeting tonight. Maybe we have 40 people at the most listening in. But the newsletter hits everyone, and it's a printed document, and people can look at it over and over again, and it just opens up the knowledge base, interest base, and makes the borough look more open to the public by writing articles. So I encourage everyone to write articles for the newsletter pertaining to the business of government. Borough manager, I think we had talked about that once before. I hope I consider that as well. It would be a great service to the community. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Tom.
I will say with the park planning, we'll be reaching out. Probably not this issue because we're not quite ready with the survey and everything, but probably the next issue that was discussed because obviously we have a good mix in town here of younger and older residents. So we feel that we'll get the survey out to everyone. There'll still be digital options, but we'll definitely be in touch to put something in the newsletter.
Thanks, Matt. That's appreciated. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I don't see no virtual hands. This time I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Mr. Long, second by Mrs. Provenza. Any questions? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Passed. I'd like to thank everybody for coming tonight and have a safe trip home.
Hey, the Verona streets are clear. Everybody else is bad.
Oh, that doesn't surprise you, right?
One guy didn't even get to read that.
Tommy, come to fun.
Bruno always says that. Bruno's only thing good. That's it, man. It's small borough. One up, one down.
1 square mile, right?
He said,
Not the challenge. Yeah.
one center avenue from down south, we're good. That's it, man.
That's what it's said. Kind of figured it did, but.
What's up there, sir?